Everybody wants some blast of magic, 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 magic. Look up the magic in me.
It's Wednesday here at Bob's Magic Emporium. You know what that means. Hump Day. I'm sorry, that was terrible. It's not Hump Day. It's time for the next episode of Magician 101, the show for all magicians. Got a lot of questions. Let's dive right into them. And we'll dive right into them. Oh my gosh, can't speak already. And Perry has the first question. Remember to post your questions down below for next week. I'll give him an answer. All right, Perry, your comment that you have for this week. I'd love to see you open your own magic shop. I'm going to, Perry. My goal is in the next 10 years to have one open. To at least have it all the way open. I'm starting to really get heavy into the small business class, or not classes, but into the small business research. I'm not taking any classes this semester. I want to try to do this on my own because the class to take one at the community college was like almost close to $500. I'm trying to save my money to open a small business. So hopefully, so I'm trying to do this on my own, reading Small Business for Dummies and the Small Business Association website. So we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping in 10 years, no, not hoping, I will hopefully in 10 years have one. Maybe it might be closer to 15. But I do definitely want to have a magic shop open one day and just bring the joy of magic to the people here in the DC metro area. All right. So we have, let's start with Taylor Lutz from Magic. He wants to know how to make your thumbnails and what's some ways to get out of a trick you messed up on. All right. I have a video on my channel. Just search on my channel. And it's called How to Make Custom Thumbnails for Your YouTube Videos. I've done a tutorial on it already, so you can go check that out, and you can see the tutorial on how to make thumbnails. All right, and he wants to know some ways to get out of a trick you messed up on. Some really good ways to get out of a trick you messed up on. Chris Ballinger actually talked about this in last week's weekly recap at Magic Geek, but I'll give you some of my own tips as well. He said the thing to do is you are the narrative in your magic. You're the storyteller. So what you want to do is play it up as that's supposed to be part of the story. The story you're trying to tell with your magic, that is what you want to make your spectators think. That, oh, the mess up is part of the show. So you definitely want to work that into your story. But some ways that I found too is if you do happen to mess up to the point of no return, where let's say you're using a TT and you drop it. For some odd reason or another, you drop your TT and people see this TT on the ground. Then you can say, I'm sorry, I messed that up. But I promise, the next one will be even better. And you put the TT back in your pocket, and you go under one that's really going to blow their socks off. My suggestion is, and I have messed up a trick before, you want to have tricks, if you're going to use that line where you say the next one's even better, you want to make sure you have one that's a no-fail trick. One that either has no sleight of hand in it or nothing, and you can do it. One maybe like uses their mind, so where you have like the gray elephant in Denmark trick. All you have to do is remember the steps, and that comes out and works right every time. So if you do something like that, you can have a no-fail trick, which is a really good one to do after you royally messed up on a trick. If you messed up and you can get out of it by, like I say, working that into your story, that is definitely a good way to go. All right, and I think another good way to, I don't think I haven't. There was another way I was going to say it, too. Improv classes. Chris Ballinger talked about improv classes on a bunch of weekly recaps on Magic Geek. He says improv is really good because you're able to think quickly on your feet. And sometimes you could do a really good line if you happen to mess up. So if you happen to mess up and you can work in like a joke or something, then it's definitely a really good way to go. I'll tell you a story that I was doing the Freedom Pack. That's the trick by Paul Harris and Justin Miller, where the deck of cards turns into it goes back into the box. And that one I did, and the cards went everywhere, and the box and they could see the gimmick. So I picked all the cards up. First of all, I said, "Hey, that's the floor show," and then and that got a laugh. And if you know how the Freedom Pack works. There's a gimmick with the cards and the box. I can't go into too much more, but I said, hey, somebody's been messing with my props. And I put them back in my pocket, and I went on like nothing happened. And that was one thing because I do know a lot about improv, and I actually did an improv class in high school. We had actually a drama class, and half of it was actually a drama class. We put on a small play. We put on the importance of being earnest, but it was for half a semester. It was for a semester, and whatever, a year or whatever. And for the first half of the year, we did nothing but improv. And I think that really helped me in my magic, too, to come up with these witty and funny lines. So definitely try an improv class. See if there's one offered. A lot of local arts barns or arts theaters will sometimes put on summer camps and summer classes at usually discounted rates or, and there might be an improv one. So definitely check that out. All right. 5555 Trumpet has this next question. What do you think of the trick Envelope by Paul Harris? All right. This is Envelope. I've done it for the 365-day magic challenge. It was one of the final videos I did. I think it was like day 364 or day 363. But it's a great trick where you have an empty envelope in your pocket. You show it empty, put it back in your pocket. You show a deck of cards. You have the spectator choose a card. Then you make their card... make the entire deck disappear. They see the deck in their hand, make the entire deck disappear, and then you're left with an envelope. You pull the card out from inside this once empty envelope. You reach back in your pocket, you pull out the entire deck of cards, set them on the table, and they can look at everything. It's really, really cool. It's a great, great trick. It's a lot of reaction, big reaction, and it also looks like a camera trick. When you see it on like YouTube or something or on TV, it looks like a camera trick. It is that good. It is a really, really great trick. I love it. I love this trick. It's a great one. It fools people and the card can be signed. And the moment that they see the deck turn into the envelope, it freaks everybody out. So I definitely recommend picking up Paul Harris and Brandon David and Chris Terich's Envelope. It's a great, great trick. Envelope. I love it. I love it. And I get giddy when I practice a trick in front of a mirror because that's the only way you can really practice this trick because you got to be able to take a look at the angles and stuff. When I make the deck of cards switch into the envelope, I get giddy. I laugh every time because it's like it shouldn't be this cool looking. The gimmick is so clever and it's so simply stupid, but when you change it, it looks really cool. The only thing is I said about the angles, you don't want people really on the sides of you or behind you because of the fact, especially on the sides, because you got to do something kind of sneaky in the middle of the trick, and people on the sides of you, they may see you do it. Just on one side. Just on one side. And I can't go into too much more about that. But if you have the trick, you know what might be a little bit of a problem if you don't have really good audience management. Mr. Tadpole221 has this question. Thanks again. You're the best, Bob. What are some things to say if somebody points out correctly how you did a trick? All right, that's kind of almost like Taylor Lunsford's question a little bit. There's a couple things you can do. First of all, you can, let's see. First thing you can do is take improv classes, like I said before, because that's going to help you come up with some witty lines and some great things to say to your audience if they figure out how to do the trick. And you can throw in a joke or something. But if they do correctly point it out, you can do a couple things. If you're doing a packet trick, let's say, where you have to do maybe like a double lift or something, then what happens is if you have another way to do the trick. So let's just use this as an example. You're doing an ambitious card routine. And let's say at first you do a double lift. And they say, oh, I know how you did that. All right. So then you can if you have another, like let's say the card's going to jump back to the top. Boom. And you turn it over. You say it's back to the top. And they say, I know what you did a double lift. And you could say, well, let's try the trick again. You put the card back in the middle and have it a different way appear at the top. Have it some other unique way to appear. Or instead of doing a double lift, do another sleight of hand move. That way, the spectator will more than likely not figure out the second way. Now, one of two things will happen. If they figure it out again after the second time, they're either really, really super smart, one of three things. They study magic, or they're a magician themselves. If they study magic, or they're a magician themselves, they should not be calling out how you do a trick. That's like magician code number 2. Do not ruin another magician's performance. Because, Anyways, though, but if it's a normal spectator and they're calling it out the first time correctly, have a second way to get into the trick. So, have a second way to come to the final outcome. So, if they know you're doing a double lift, do the same effect, but try to have another method to do it. And if you don't want to try that, you can also do the same thing I told Taylor Lunsford Magic You can, if you don't say you're doing an ambitious card, put the cards away and say, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry. But I promise you, the next trick's even better. Pull out another trick and go right into the next one. And you won't have any trouble. Alright, now I do have something to say. I'm sorry for your next question. You're not going to like the answer, but he says, do you have a website? What is it, if so? I want to see what an amazing local magician site looks like you. Alright, well, I do have a website, but I like to not give out my personal information online, so I'm not going to give out my website. I'm sorry, I know it's probably going to make you sad, Mr. Tadpole221, but I don't want to give out my personal information because my website has my non-YouTube email address on it and my phone number. I don't want to give any of that out. So I'm not going to give out my website, but it definitely is a, it's definitely, but I'm sorry, I don't want to give it out. So sorry about that. All right, and Jay Brothwick has the final question. He says, hey, mate, what do you think of Risk by, not even trying to pronounce that French guy's name. All right, Risk is a Russian roulette style trick where you have 4 staple guns, and one of them's loaded, and basically you find all 3 that aren't loaded. That's any roulette trick is the same way. The spike trick with the 3 cups, where you smash the cup on your hand, that is same premise. All roulette tricks are the same premise. It's really expensive to get that. It's like $200. I'm not going to get it. It won't fit my style of performing because I don't do roulette tricks all the time. I do some roulette tricks sometimes, but I mostly perform for families and kids. So, doing a roulette trick for kids and then having kids go home and try that would not be a good idea. So I don't do roulette tricks, and that's really expensive. I wouldn't get staple guns and all that because I do the one with the spike under the 4 cups. So, and that suits me for my needs. All right. He also wants to know, what do you think of the head dagger chest illusion? All right. This one I have been looking into a lot for you, Jay, because I remember reading something a few years back. It's a terrible trick to do unless you have an assistant. The reason being is because the inner workings of the head dagger chest are inside the box. So you either have to do one of 2 things, or one of 3 things. Put your own head in the box and have an assistant, a female assistant, or male assistant, or whatever, jam the spikes or jam the swords in the box. You put your assistant's head in the box and you jam the swords in there. Or you put a spectator's head in there, but you have to blindfold them because they'll be able to see the inside and see the secret if they're not blindfolded. I don't like blindfolding my assistants and putting their heads in weird boxes. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want that done to me. Like, even if I knew how the trick worked and I was watching some magic show and the magician pulled me up on stage and said, hey, I will put your head, I still wouldn't want to be blindfolded and put my head in the box. No matter what the situation was. So I wouldn't do that, and I don't have any female assistants that I work with. So for me, it's not a good trick. But if you can get an assistant to use the trick with, it might be good to put in your show. But I hear you have to use an assistant. That's what I've been reading. All right. And it says, do you think the animal cage appearance is a good trick? I don't work with any animals, Jay, so I can't answer that question because I could say it's a good trick. I could say it's not because, I could say, oh, it looks cool, but I don't actually use the tricks. I can't tell you if it's good or not because I don't use any animals in my show. And he says, what's your favorite magic trick on an iPhone, would you say? Thanks, mate. All right. I have 3 really awesome magic tricks that you do on the iPhone. First one is premonition, where you have the spectator tell you a card, and then you play back a voicemail, and you call your own phone and leave a voicemail to yourself. And when you play the voicemail back, it will, and the voicemail is unread. When you bring up your actual voicemail, it's unread. You show the spectator that there's an unread voicemail. Hit the button. It's your name. Put it on speaker, and it's your own voice. It's not some random person. They don't know who it is. It's your own voice. And when they listen to the message, it will say whatever you want the message to say. The cool thing about the trick is the voicemails can be customized. So it doesn't have, my pattern is I'm sitting inside this coffee shop having a very weird premonition about and whatever the card is, an ace of spades. What does it even mean? You could change it up and say, hey, you know, I'm walking down the street and somebody stopped me and said their favorite card's the Ace of Spades. What does that even mean? Or something like that, you know, or I woke up from a deep sleep last night and thinking about an Ace of Spades or something. So, you know, you can customize your own pattern to whatever style of magic suits you. So it's really a cool trick. The only bad thing is, like I say, you have to customize all of the voicemails ahead of time, and then you're ready to do the trick. And that's labor intensive. It took me like 30 minutes to do all the voicemails because I kept messing up. You can re-record them, but it takes a long time. Once you're set and ready to go, it's a great trick. Another good one that I've done I'm going to open up my phone here, for the 365-day Magic Challenge. I've done a couple from the Magic Kit app. The Magic Kit app is really cool. There are 13 magic tricks on here. 13 of them. And they're all different, and they're all really good quality magic tricks. There's one that's a card prediction that I really like. One of them's Mystic Hand. A great one where you have the spectator choose a card. The card goes back in the deck. You mix up the deck. A Mystic Hand that's on your screen reaches into the deck, pulls out their card, puts it back in, but it puts it back in face up. You spread through the deck, and their card is face up. It's really a cool trick. And then there's another one called Pencil Stab on here, where you have a card selected. You have the deck. You flick the deck at the phone, you flick the phone at the deck, and this virtual pencil on the screen stabs their card. It's a really great trick. So I recommend picking up that. It's an expensive app, though. I think I paid like $9.99 for it, but it is definitely worth it. Now, the most expensive iPhone app out there is one of my favorite ones, My Pet Boris Magic Spider. Just like Joshua J's The Web, kind of works the same way. I've done this for the 365-day Magic Challenge. That was the day after Christmas video, is the video I did for that. What this is, though, is you have a spider. It crawls around on your iPhone screen, crawls off the screen, you wave your hand over the screen, you get it to come back. The spectator waves their hand over it, and as soon as they do, a large fake spider, which looks really real. I mean, look how real that spider looks. It's creepy how real that looks. I was cleaning this counter out the other day, and the spider is sitting on the bottom. I completely forgot. I opened it up, and I like, wait, that's my fake spider. I got scared there for a minute, too. The reason this is so expensive is because you got to get the pack of spiders or cockroaches. And it's very expensive to get it. I think one pack is, I want to say it's like 10 or 11 bucks if you just get the cockroaches or just get the spiders. For Christmas, I asked for the dual pack that comes with 3 of these plastic spiders, and then it comes with 3 cockroaches. The cockroaches look really real, too. The cockroaches, that thing looks nasty. That thing looks nasty, man. I can't get over how realistic these cockroaches and spiders look. But it really does freak people out, because you plant the spider on the back of their hand. They turn their hand over to wave, and there is a spider on there. They flip out. I did the trick once, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this. One way is you get a bunch of these when you buy the Pro Pack. You get a bunch of these little plastic adhesive dots you can stick on the spider to stick on the back of the hand, and it would not come off. This person kept going like this, and the spider would not come off. It freaked them out. I'm doing it for my coworker one day after I got the trick. And I always put the phone in the hand. She prematurely saw the spider under her hand. She dropped my phone. I thought it broke, and it was so hilarious. And I almost gave one of my coworkers a heart attack. So that was not fun. But it's a great trick. It pays for itself in no time because you're going to get a lot of laughs out of this. And if you do this on the street in a street magic situation, everybody's going to laugh when the person gets the spider on the. It's fun. And the best thing about this trick is it's not one where the spectator is going to be mad at you afterwards. Because every time I've done this trick, every time they see the spider is fake, and it finally clicks after the shock of, oh my God, there's a spider on my hand, after they find out that, oh, it's fake, they start laughing, trying to have a good time with it too. So it's a really great trick, the My Pet Boris Magic Spider. I recommend this, one of the best iPhone apps. And I'm going off on a tangent here, because the reason I said this is very expensive, because the dual pack is like $19, and then you also, even if you get the spiders, just the spiders, or just the cockroaches, or even the dual pack, you still have to pay $6.99 for the app. Very expensive, but it's well worth it. It pays for itself in no time. If you do a lot of close-up or street magic gigs, it's really, really cool. And And there's also an option you can buy that I haven't seen it available like on Magic Geek or Penguin Magic. There's an option if you don't want a scary routine, like maybe you're going to do a lot of shows for kids, that's all you really perform for is kids. There's another version of the trick where you can buy butterflies. And it's like a realistic looking butterfly that's on the back of the hand. So they turn it over and they say, oh, butterfly. Instead of getting their poop scared out of them with a spider or a cockroach, it's a butterfly. So as you can tell, I probably spent the last 3 minutes talking about my Peck Boris Magic Spider. So really great trick though. That's going to do it for this week's Magician 101. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you next time for another all-new Magician 101. I pour it right inside of here, and notice that the milk, of course, you get the 2 tubes, and you get a certain amount of bottles. Let me grab one of the bottles. Series on my channel where every single Friday I'll be uploading a brand new video in which I'll teach you how to do an easy magic trick